Hello, Pisces, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Got a frog in my throat all of a sudden. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. I'm going to grab a drink real quick. I don't know why I was just speaking and there was no frog, but you know, that's how frogs work, I guess. Anyway, Pisces, this will be your weekly reading for the week of June 21st through the 27th. And during that time, we have the solstice that comes in on the 21st. So if there's a place around you to go celebrate with others, it's really a fun thing to do. We do it almost every year for summer solstice. Winter, we do a thing at home here, but summer is, it's about going to we usually go watch the sunset, but there's places where you can watch the sunrise as well. But it's the longest day of the year. Um, if you're in the northern hemisphere anyway, and go check it out. We do have the first quarter moon that comes in on the 23rd, and it can kind of feel like a full moon, that same energy where you might be a little bit like impulsive and impatient. Your mind might be active, might be hard to get things done. So you can either two ways of handling that. You can either use it as a way to learn how to control and dominate your impulses, or you can just kind of take it easy that day. We then, for the rest of the week, have the waxing gibbous energy, and that is when we're back to work on those things that we've started during the new moon. But it's also a good time to show that we can be flexible and make adjustments where needed. So keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Pisces. So, as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't here on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is that nothing is yet set in stone. And I know that you guys have had a very interesting and difficult and healing past few weeks. So, I hope you guys are feeling better and getting through some things. And it looks like you might be, if nothing is yet set in stone, things might still be going on. But I hope things are calming down for you. I know you guys have had a time of it lately. So, let's get into this reading. My fun weekly reminder, though, before I start, Pisces, is that you keep a spiritual journal. So this would be a place for you to write down things that you're learning. Spiritually, it could be experiences that you're having, maybe synchronicities, even dreams. But writing those things down, it just gives you a little reference point to come back to in the future. And future you will thank you for for writing all of these things down. Especially when it comes to dreams. You may have, I've been very fascinated lately with premonition dreams. I've had them off and on my whole life, but I've recently learned that some of those dreams can be very mundane. And I haven't been writing down all of my dreams, just the ones that seem significant. But after listening to a lecture of someone who writes down every single dream, some of those mundane things that he was dreaming are happening, and he is having a lot more premonition dreams than he realized. So maybe you needed that little bit of information as well. I broke it down. It was a 2-hour lecture, so there's a whole minute for you, or 30 seconds. So, okay, let's get into this reading. Pisces, June 21st through the 27th. Nothing is yet set in stone, and your present energy right now is the High Priestess. So this is our card of dreams and those things I was just talking about, those things, those synchronistic things that come to you. This is about using your intuition. When you know a thing and acting on it, and sometimes you don't even really know why. But it also could be about just paying attention to dreams and information that's around you, and you're kind of putting some things together, but you're doing it. This is a card of mystery, things that are coming together for some mysterious reason, and we can't always see it. Sometimes it's just a little cloudy, a little dark. Um, and as time goes on, things do come to light a little bit more. What is your current situation right now is the Hermit. See, speaking of cloudy and darkness, here's the Hermit who is really going within to try to figure things out. This is about doing inner searching. It's also about, you just don't even want to be around others, which that can be the case too, especially if you're healing and going through things, and if nothing is set in stone, you just have your guard up, right? But it's about, really, the Hermit can only light his next step or two. And that's really all you need to know right now, is just what are your next step or two. And you're probably going to intuitively know that anyway. All right. At the root of your situation is the Magician. Wow. 3 major arcana coming out for you, Pisces. So nothing is set in stone, but anytime I start to see 3 major arcana, 3 or 4 means that this is a pretty These are pretty big changes that are going on in your life right now and big decisions that you're making. So, at the root of your situation is the magician asking you, how do you want to move forward? What is it that you need more and the most in your life, and how do you arrive there? And this is about asking the universe for these things and trying to put, you don't let the universe do all the work. You get to do some too. So, and ask yourself, is it about my emotions or the emotions around me? Is it about pentacles, money, material things? Is it about passion or is it about communication? What is it that you need the most to move forward? And take some of that hermiting time to really think through those things. What is it that you need right now? And start to manifest those things, start to make sure that those things are going on in your life because that's what you're wanting right now. In your recent past is the 8 of Cups. So moving forward, into right now, and probably, this many times is moving forward and seeking. So I would call all of these cards seeking type cards. So, you're definitely in that seeking mode, and that's probably why nothing is set in stone yet. You're trying to make decisions and come to conclusions, and you're not quite there yet, but keep going. This is work that we all have to do at some point, especially if you've been through a little bit of a difficult time. You just have to keep seeking and going within and really thinking about things. But go ahead and do that. Just take the time. I feel like if you're going through something and you need to take the time, you just have to do it. um Other things can go on the back burner for a little bit. I know there's life things that we all have to take care of, but sometimes you'd have to just buckle down and take care of what's going on with you. What's on your mind this week is the Empress. So wow. So I'm talking about 3 or 4 major arcana. Now we've got 4. So on your mind is kind of thinking, how do you want to move forward for the long term? Our Empress she is our long-term creative card. She would be the one that would have a child, right? And that is a very long-term commitment. So the things that you're thinking about on your mind are things that are going to affect your life long term, not just the next week or two or month or two. This is about things that are going to go on for years, and you're making those kind of decisions, and it's on your mind to be mulling that around. To be making those kind of decisions that are going to impact your life in a particular way for the foreseeable future but it's a longer term commitment. Again, it's like making the commitment to be a mother. You're at least, well, I say that's a lifetime commitment. There's no years you can put on that, but that is on your mind, and it's on your mind to feel like your motherhood is at the forefront of your decision making as well, with the Empress up there. Okay, what is just ahead of you this week is the 6 of Pentacles. So this is about giving and receiving, and sometimes it is, even though it's a card of Pentacles, I don't think it's always about monetary. Of course it can be, but sometimes I feel like it's energy and what we're giving and receiving from other people. Are we giving more? Are we receiving, where are we in that cycle? And make sure you're doing both, and that channel is kept open so that you can give, but you can also receive as well. In your advice position is the Ace of Cups. So I think you're going to have to open up your heart a little bit. Um, and that's really the advice. The advice is to just a little bit, to be a little bit more open hearted about whatever it is that you're going through right now. Just embody that Ace of Cups open heart energy to and let that be your guide as make sure you're feeling things that you're doing, not just that it's not all logic, but sometimes things are based on feeling as well. What is beyond your control this week? Page of Swords. So some new way of communicating or thinking about something. Of course, this is coming out of all of this. You've got a lot on your mind, obviously, with these all of these major arcana. So this is a new way of thinking. It's probably relates to this Magician card. When you kind of start to decide what is it that you need the most in your life right now, this is what's going to help you just put it into motion. It's beyond your control. Okay, what is your secret desire, or what are you trying to avoid? Your secret desire is to kind of feel a little recognition from those around you. This could be family, friends, work people. If that's your secret desire, is just kind of feel recognized, like, hey, you're doing a good job. And again, that could be from any of your groups, but it's about kind of being recognized by others, or you just want to avoid it at all costs. So there's no right or wrong answer. You just need to ask yourself that question and understand your own answer. That's really what it's about, is just, do you understand why you're doing things in any particular way? Okay, Pisces, in your outcome here is still a little bit of anxiety there with the Nine of Swords. So, whatever, again, nothing is set in stone. And it does look like you're working through how to make some decisions and what your priorities are, what you need to do action wise, but you're still kind of in hermit mode. You're kind of like, you're not trying to talk to people. You're still doing that inner searching. So you may not have all those answers yet, and that's okay. Again, I'm going to suggest journaling, even if it's, spiritual journal, yes, but just journaling in general. Anytime you're going through things that are this heavy and you've got all of these kinds of questions, sometimes it's just good to write it out, write what's on your mind, write pros and cons, that sort of thing. It just helps you get more clarity. All right, what's hidden from you here at the bottom of the deck is the Page of Pentacles. So no new action here, kind of on the material or the financial front. There's nothing new there coming in again, except this Page of Swords is more about communication. So nothing new, kind of status quo when it comes to material and financial. That's kind of things that are nothing's changing there. Okay, let's get a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Pisces as you kind of wrap this up. Be open to love. And here is this Ace of Cups. I always find it's always funny when those cards come back to a card that's over here. But yeah, just be open to love. Whatever that is, be open to it. Again, with this giving and receiving. And that could be, again, even though that's a card of Pentacles, I see that as sometimes just being open to the emotions of people around you, both giving and receiving. All right, let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care. Self-care for Pisces this week. And the card that you get says shine. There's a bright star on it. Don't dim your light. The world needs your unique talents and gifts. Shine brightly. So, yeah, I mean, that could be kind of going along with this Hermit card, is that you're just kind of drawn into yourself. Are you shining your light? Are you being a beacon? Are you reaching out and being open to love? You might not be if you're kind of hermiting and you're like, I'm just going to put my blinders on and get my thing done and work through this thing. So make sure that you are at least being open to the people around you that are reaching out to you or being there for you right now. Again, nothing is yet set in stone. Um, that might change next week, but go ahead and just, status quo, get through these things that you're dealing with. Again, journaling can be helpful because it can just bring you some clarity as you're writing things down, right? So Pisces, thank you so much for being here. I hope there's something in this reading that you can take away and use in a positive way in your life this week. Of course, if you're comfortable sharing, drop me a comment down below and let me know. Or if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you. Also, if you like my reading style, hitting like and subscribe is really helpful, and I appreciate that so much. So thank you in advance for doing that. But good luck with all of this. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.